William Frawley, who played the beloved character Fred Mertz on the classic sitcom I Love Lucy, was a veteran vaudevillian performer who gave his all to each performance, but astute Lucy. When people hear the name William Frawley, the first thing that often pops into their heads is his iconic turn as Fred Mertz in I Love Lucy. But casual fans of the series may be surprised to learn that William had actually been performing in the entertainment industry for several decades by the time he landed the memorable role. Despite the fact he'd been working so long in the industry, he had failed to attain star status as a result of his bad attitude and drinking habit. William's weird contractual stipulations. Entering into I Love Lucy, William Frawley had a pretty negative reputation. In fact, many of the studio top brass didn't want William to play the part of Fred Mertz, and instead attempted to insist Lucille and Desi find someone else for the role. But it was Desi who was most adamant about William's hiring, though the Cuban actor still had his doubts. William ended up being hired on the show, following Desi's gut instinct, though he was only given the part of Fred Mertz under the explicit presumption that he would significantly cut down on his alcohol use. This wasn't the only strange stipulation. There was also said to have been a clause in the contract stating William had to be freed from work duties in the event of the Brooklyn Dodgers being in the World Series. Lucille and Desi were more than happy to allow William to indulge in his passion for sports, so long as the actor made good on his end of the bargain and always gave a good performance on the series. While William certainly always performed well and made Fred Mertz a standout character, the actor certainly wasn't very sober during its filming. William loved sports more than booze. Outside of I Love Lucy, William Frawley's passion for sports could often be seen in the actor's choice of Hollywood roles. The actor appeared in a staggering number of sports-related pictures over the course of his several decades-spanning career, though most of these seem to have been lost in time due to their decidedly low quality and dated appeal. William's first appearance in a sports-related picture came in 1935, towards the beginning of his career. This was Hold'em Yale. The actor went on to appear in well over a dozen sports-related pictures following this, with his final one being 1962's Safe at Home, which was released after William had risen to greater prominence on I Love Lucy. William wasn't the best guy. It's hard not to love William Frawley if you take his work at face value, though there's a lot less to love once you actually get to know who the man really was. While he might have had a penchant for comedy, he was said to have been a little too much in real life, like the curmudgeonly characters he played on screen. There are a number of notable character flaws the actor had. Those who worked with William often had a hard time standing the veteran vaudevillian's performers' lack of political correctness, with the actor known to have been decidedly racist and misogynistic. The comedic actor was certainly a product of his times, though that's no excuse for much of his negative behavior. William was already hard to work with when he entered into the industry, and his propensity for drinking past his limits only made that harder. It was a minor miracle that William managed to get his role on I Love Lucy, though the actor doesn't seem to have treated the role with much respect, if his refusal to give up alcohol is any indication. Although Frawley entered into filming saying he would cut back on his drinking, it was rumored the star was drunk the majority of the time he was filming. Before we tell you more about Frawley and his vices, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. William knew how to hold his liquor, except in his hands. In addition to being a veteran actor, William was also an exceptionally seasoned alcoholic. He was certainly a man who knew how to hold his liquor, and it was hard to tell for most of the star's co-workers over the course of his career whether he was drunk or not. While he may have been able to hold his liquor when it came to his demeanor, they're natural but allow him to keep them hidden. The trained performer he was, William was able to come up with a fix to ensure no one knew just how much he was abusing alcohol. That was to hide his hands in his pockets. It's uncertain just how effective William was in covering up his alcohol abuse, as the fact that the actor was drunk throughout much of filming seems to have been common knowledge. But whatever he was doing, he managed to stay on the good side of Lucille and Desi while giving his all to the performance of Fred. William's long life before I Love Lucy. Frawley was born in the late 1880s, and his early work was in hard labor. Not wanting to live the rest of his life laying down railroad tracks, he began dreaming of becoming a performer as a young adult. His mother tried to dampen his growing dreams, but they eventually won out. According to William himself, he was discovered while singing railroad songs at a cafe in Chicago and subsequently thrust into the theater. He initially garnered attention as a singer, though he soon turned his sights towards performing in vaudeville. With his brother Peter, William formed a vaudeville duo. Together, they began performing in small venues across the country. After breaking things off with his brother, William settled in Denver and began working as the house comedian for a local cafe. He did this for a year before getting restless again and heading to California, where he formed a vaudeville partnership with a piano player. In 1914, William married a woman named Edna, and the two formed a new vaudeville duo, with Edna portraying the straight man. In 1916, William appeared in his first film. William divorced Edna in the late 20s, and the performer never married again. However, he had plenty more to do in his career. Following his divorce, he headed to New York City and worked for a time on Broadway. Following that, Paramount Pictures offered him a 7-year contract. William's Hollywood days and later life. By the end of the 30s, little had come of William's tenure with Paramount. This came despite the fact that he had been cast as a character actor in a number of pictures for the studio. While many of these had been successful and some of William's performances had even received some mild acclaim, it was inarguable that the actor was never the standout aspect of whatever feature he appeared in. Entering into the 40s, his career was in dire straits, and this made him turn to alcohol even more. William accepted the role of Fred Mertz on I Love Lucy and gave it his all when the cameras were rolling, though it seems he wasn't willing to give up his alcohol addiction. Following I Love Lucy, he appeared on the series My Three Sons, though his health began to seriously decrease over the course of that show's run. He passed away in 1966. By the way, if you haven't joined Facts First as a member yet, be sure to look below this video and click the Join button. By becoming a paid member of Facts First, you'll get access to exclusive video content that you won't find anywhere else. This includes some of our more mature content that isn't suitable for public audiences, which includes topics like Hollywood actresses who posed for Playboy and some of the steamiest moments in movie history. Plus, you can enjoy these videos completely ad-free. Our biggest fans will notice they also get badges next to their name when they leave comments on our videos. We pay special attention to comments from our members, and so do other viewers. So if you want exclusive content from Facts First or inside access to discussions with other community members, click the Join button to get started for just $4.99. There are hours of members-only videos waiting for you, with new videos added every month. And we're actively working on bringing even more features to help fans like you connect with other members and get more of your favorite content. Just click Join, and we'll see you inside the membership tab.